Okay, let's move on to the open floor questions. Let's see. Oh, we have so many questions coming in. So let me repeat. The question will be, will I be able to see in the viewer which lands, especially the rarer ones, are available for selling for whitelist?
All right. So the whitelist is the early access. The people who are whitelisted will have access to a CT cell 24 hours earlier. The way it works is that there will be a quota that will be available for the whitelist. And that is going to work pretty much the same way as for the public sale. So let me just give you an example. I'll stick to the same example as before, right? Singapore will cover an area of 50,000 tiles. So that is the area that will go on sale. Then let's say that 1,000 tiles will go on sale for that city. There will be a quota for the early access, for the whitelist, that will be, for instance, 300, right? So people who enter the whitelist for that sale will be able to purchase up to 300 tiles. Right? And what we will also make sure is that within these 300, the ratios apply. So when we open the whitelist, we'll make sure that the rarities are represented according to the ratios, right?
Understand.
And the people who join the sale for the whitelist will only be able to buy that amount within those quotas. So they are not able to buy out the entire land. They are not able to buy out the entire allocation of mythical or epic or rare. We control this.
This is one of the concerns I've been seeing on the community. Everybody is like, what if the whitelisters just wipe out all the mythical, the nothing left? It's not going to happen. So we're going to reassure you again, there is a quota.
Right.
So even after the whitelist, 24 hours later when the public opens, you will still have mythical to buy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And also, like Steve mentioned, the example we gave just now, for example, Singapore, right? So it's not like, we launch 100 tiles of land, or 1,000 tiles of land. It's not predetermined. So there's like a 50,000 in Singapore, then you can choose from those 50,000, whatever the location. That will also apply for the whitelist as well.
Absolutely. So that 300 will be from the 50,000.
So you can, once the 24-hour whitelist starts, you can look at the 50,000 tiles of land and then you choose which one you want. And then once that whatever quota is being hit, then the whitelist ends.
Exactly.
This question seems like something that a lot of people is asking. Okay, will it be more profitable to own one mythical land or 3 epic lands, and why? So the question is down here below in the lower thirds.
Yeah, that's a very good question. There is no simple answer to that. So what comes with the notion of land is the notion of what we call a hometown. There are citizens in a hometown, and there is a mayor in a hometown, and the mayor is a landowner. So this is how we formalized it internally for our game design discussions. But simply put, the rarer your land, rare, epic, mythical, the larger the size of your hometown. Right? So that means you have more citizens. These citizens will play and earn by playing the Nexus World game, by exploring it, by battling bosses in raids. And by doing so, they will earn. And as a mayor, you get a cut of their earnings. Right? So as a mayor, you get a cut of the earnings of your citizens.
Ka-ching.
If you have 3 times more citizens, so rather the question is, will mythical have 3 times the size of epic in terms of citizens? Maybe. We haven't actually finalized the exact details of how we're going to dimension that. But if you want to look at it, I would say in a very linear way, you could say, well, if my mythical land is 3 times the size of an epic, then I would actually roughly earn the same from 3 epic versus 1 mythical. Right? So we haven't really finalized the design aspect, the systems aspect of what is the size of a hometown. But it's not only about that, because if you own 3 epic lands, you actually are able to build and operate 3 times more facilities. So what is a facility? A facility is something that you will be able to build on your land and that players who visit your land will be able to use. So typically there would be rest stops for buddies, there would be training centers for buddies. So they provide utility inside the game. Players need to spend inside the Nexus world to use them. So they spend in your facility, you earn. So if you have more facilities, well, you earn more.
So with 3 pieces of land, you have the chances to build more facilities than 1 piece of land.
Exactly. That said, and that's why it's really not that straightforward and not that simple. Facilities in rarer land will provide better benefits, will fetch higher sums, or rather will generate higher income.
But then again, more facilities may also match or even be better.
Right.
So it really depends, right?
Right. So really the answer is it depends. And on what else does it depend? So there is location, right? So if geolocation matters, you have 3 locations versus 1. But not just geolocation, it's also the fact that you have these 3 locations, which means like potentially you have 3 times more players visiting your land.
That's
so
true.
You can also earn this way. There's also a very interesting aspect that is part of the game design is that when you play, so it's about the geolocation aspect, right? You play from where you currently sit. So that corresponds to a tile in the real world. So you have access to that tile because of where you are physically. You also have access to your hometown, right? You own that place. You can teleport there for free.
So if you are a mayor that owns a piece of land, you can teleport to the land that you own.
Absolutely. So if you own 3,
I can teleport to 3 places.
Yes, exactly. So you have access to more places.
But if I own 1 mythical, I can only teleport to 1 place.
Exactly. And then there's also the fact that if you own more land, you could also choose to diversify across biomes.
Oh yes,
right?
biomes.
Which means that your different lands will spawn different types of buddies, etc. So it's not just about the 3x, right? There's a lot more to consider. So it's really a non-linear process, and it boils down really to what works best for you. Whether you want to have more land, be able to go more places to spawn more buddies, or do you want to have land that is rarer? Think about mythical. In the end, only 300 mythical will be on sale in the whole of Nexus world.
So it really doesn't matter. I mean, no ultimate answer for like which one is better. So it depends, right? So if you are the one who wants to aim for the citizen numbers, or you want to aim for the location, or you want to aim for the spawning of from the different biomes, or you want to just teleport to more places. There's so many things to consider.
Absolutely.
Okay. Which also I was looking at this question as well, which is very similar to what we're talking about. Could you explain which landowner will be more successful in investing the same amount? It's pretty a similar question. So for example, right, this person only has 9 flags. Should the person have 1 epic or 3 rare or 9 common?
Right. Yeah, so it's a very similar answer. It boils down to how much time do you want to invest in the game and in managing different types of land? Are you interested in running several hometowns in different locations, different biomes, more facilities, or do you prefer to have only 1, but it is of a higher tier? Your citizens will probably consider the citizenship more prestigious. There's also something that we will introduce when the game launches is the ability for, let me put it this way, rarity-based leagues. That means that there will be events, there will be quests, there will be activities that will be reserved to certain tiers of hometown. If I go back to the previous example, right, and I was saying it is not going to be linear. Let's just assume it is linear. right? Just for the sake of this explanation. If it was linear based on the number of flags, it would mean that a mythical land would have 27 times more citizens than a common land.
If it's linear.
If it is linear, right? So that would mean that if we were running events with all the hometowns together, I'm not saying we won't, but it's a bit of a David and Goliath. If you have, a hometown that participates, and they are 27 times bigger than the other hometown.
It's just unfair.
Right.
Yeah.
So we are looking at events that will be run across the different categories. So what that means is that if you choose to be in a rarer category, you will actually be competing with people of the same size as you. It's going to make the challenges more interesting.
So talking about that, I have another one which is very similar as well. They're asking about a strategy. So what's the best strategy to pick a, let's say, common land?
Right. So that's an excellent question. So there's two things really to look into. And the first one is, if you only have one flag and you have to choose a common land, geolocation is something that is very interesting because location in the real world or rather a prime location in the real world is not necessarily a rare location in the NEXUS world.
It could be a common.
It could be a common. So when I was sharing the world viewer earlier on the Singapore, you saw that, for instance, the prime area of Orchard Road
was a lot of
some
common.
rare. I was on an epic. There was a lot of common land. So this may anyway be something that interests you. Like, oh, I live here. I know that place. I love that place. I want to own that land. So it's also a personal preference. When we were asking the community during the flag sale what were their preferences in terms of choosing a land, the answers were very diverse. There were a lot of you liked areas that would be popular or that were iconic, but also a lot of you said, where I live or places that are significant to me. So with a common land, you get that ability to choose the area that you like, and it is not because it is popular or prime in the real world that it is necessarily inaccessible in the NEXUS world. So number one is geolocation.
Geolocation, okay.
The other one, which is a more strategic consideration, is let me actually take a step back and explain how the game will work. I explained that when you play the game, it's going to be about where you are in the physical world, right? So you will be in that tile. And your hometown, your land, is going to be somewhere else. So you can teleport to that place. But where you are or where your hometown is, whenever you choose to play from there, you have access to the tiles that are around you, the 6 tiles around you. So if you choose a hometown that is strategically located next to a mythical or an epic or a rare, it means that by teleporting there, which is your right as a hometown owner, you will be able to walk across into these areas, which means that you can actually start catching buddies in mythical land. You can use facilities in mythical land or epic.
Oh.
So you can actually have the best of both worlds by being able to access those land just by being next to one of them.
Let me get this straight, if I'm correct. So if I have only one flag, I want to choose a common land, I could possibly choose a location like, say, Orchard Road, which I think has a lot of traffic, that is next to an epic or next to a rare or next to a mythical. And then I will be able to teleport there and access those facilities, even though mine is a common land.
Right.
Oh, new information. Common land can be very valuable too.
Of course it can.